Help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Please, like the video and share your thoughts. In the comments, your feedback helps. Make the content better after 37 years of marriage. I never thought I'd find myself standing here, heart racing, palms damp, with a confession trembling on my lips. My name is Margaret. I'm 62, and I spent nearly 4 decades married to a man I once believed was everything I could ever want. Kind, reliable, steady. My husband, Richard, is 64. The kind of man who never yells, never loses his temper, and remembers every tiny detail. My favorite flowers, the way I take my coffee and tea. I loved him quietly, and I knew he loved me in the same gentle way. But love, I've come to realize, is not simple. It can be patient, steadfast, forgiving, and yet it can also be silent, hidden, even suffocating. Tonight was meant to be ordinary. We had dinner, watched a rerun of a crime drama, and exchanged the casual chatter that fills the gaps between two people who have grown comfortable with each other over decades. Yet tonight, the secret I had carried for so long pressed on me like a weight, heavier with every forced laugh and idle comment. I knew I had to speak. I had to say it before it consumed me entirely. This secret had been buried deep since my teenage years. Something I thought would never see the light of day. Something I carried with me like a shadow every single day. But 37 years of silence had gone on far too long. I cleared my throat and turned to Richard, who was quietly flipping through TV channels. "Richard," I whispered, my voice trembling. He looked at me, one brow lifted, curious but calm. "Can we talk?" I tried to steady my voice, but it quivered despite my best effort. He set the remote down and nodded. "Of course, Margaret. What's on your mind?" I swallowed hard, thinking of all the nights I had lain awake, staring at the ceiling, heart aching, wishing I could share this burden without fear. And now I was finally ready. "There's something I need to tell you," I began, "something I should have told you decades ago. I'm sorry it took me so long." Richard's face softened with concern. "Whatever it is, you can tell me. You know that, right?" I nodded, summoning the courage I had honed over years of careful silence. When I was very young, just 16, I made a choice, one that changed my life forever. I never told anyone, not my parents, not my friends, and certainly not you. I've carried it alone for 37 years. My voice cracked, my chest tightened, my throat constricted. He reached out and placed his hand gently over mine. "Margaret, whatever it is, I'm here." I drew a deep breath. "I had a child before I met you." The room fell into a suffocating silence. Richard's hand froze over mine. His eyes, normally warm and gentle, widened with shock. "You had a child," he whispered, as if saying it aloud made it real. "Yes," I said, tears streaming freely. "I gave him up for adoption. I never told anyone because I was ashamed. I thought I had to bear this alone. I feared that if I told anyone, it would ruin everything." Richard didn't speak. He simply stared at me, unreadable. For a fleeting moment, I feared I had shattered everything. 37 years of trust, love, and partnership into something irreparable. Then, slowly, he reached across the table and took both my hands in his. His grip was steady, grounding, reassuring. "Margaret, thank you for telling me. I can't imagine how hard this must have been for you." "I don't want to lie," I admitted, voice shaking. "I needed you to know the truth, but I was terrified. I didn't know how you'd react. I didn't want to lose you." Richard pressed his lips together, gathering his thoughts, then leaned back with a slow, deliberate sigh. "You've carried this for 37 years, he said quietly. "That's unimaginable. But you told me now, and that's what matters. I love you, Margaret. That hasn't changed. It won't change." My chest tightened again, but this time it was relief. Relief that, after decades of secrecy, I had finally unburdened myself without losing the man I loved. He continued, his voice steady, firm yet gentle. "I won't pretend this is easy to process. It's a lot, but it doesn't change who you are. It doesn't change us. We built a life together, a life full of love, respect, and countless memories. And no secret from long ago can undo that." Tears streamed down my face, and I buried my head in my hands. "I'm so sorry, Richard," I whispered. "I never meant to hurt you. I didn't know how to tell anyone, and I was scared it would ruin everything." He leaned forward and lifted my chin so I could meet his eyes. "Margaret, we've survived so much together, raising children, moving homes, careers, illnesses, losses. This doesn't break us. It's part of your story, yes, but now it's part of mine too, and I can carry it with you." For the first time in decades, I felt the weight lift from my shoulders. The secret that had haunted me for 37 years no longer felt like a chain around my heart. Richard didn't recoil, didn't judge, didn't flinch. He simply held my hand, squeezed it, and reminded me that after everything, we were still together, perhaps even stronger because the truth had finally been spoken. We sat in silence for a long moment, but it was no longer heavy. It was warm, filled with understanding. He reached for my coffee cup and handed it to me, a small, grounding gesture. I smiled through my tears, realizing that love exists not just in the easy moments, but in the courage to face the hard ones together. That night, after decades of silence, my secret was no longer mine alone. It belonged to both of us. And in sharing it, I discovered a depth of intimacy I had never known, a closeness born not of perfection, but of truth. After 37 years, I had finally confessed my secret, and Richard's response left me speechless. Not with shock, anger, or betrayal, but with patience, understanding, and love. For the first time in decades, I slept with my heart unburdened, knowing that truth, though frightening, can also heal.